Could you please introduce yourself in Kristang in English?
Sure. Tem Wong, eu sou nome Kevin Martens Wong eu cabeça resido di Genti Kristang di Malacca, Singapura, Borlu, Kuala Lumpur. Hello, my name is Kevin Martens Wong I am the 13th and current Cabeza or Indigenous Chief of the Kristang people of Malacca, Singapore, Perth, and KL.
How did you learn these two languages and any other languages you know?
So, everybody in Singapore speaks English. Kristang was taught to me by my great-grandmother, Mabel Martens, who was the 10th Cabeza from 1994 to 1999 when she passed away and when I was a baby. I also know Mandarin because in Singapore we have to learn a mother tongue that is state mandated. We have to choose from generally one of three options, Mandarin, Malay, or Tamil. And my family speaks English at home. My mom, my grandma didn't speak Kristang. My dad didn't speak Chinese, so it was just English at home. I also know German, Spanish, and bare fragments of like 12 or 13 other languages just because I did language courses, but I don't remember any of it. In day-to-day life, I mostly use Singlish, English, and Kristang.
Can you tell us a little bit about Kristang and its speakers?
Mm-hmm. So Kristang is a critically endangered Creole language. It is a hybrid of Portuguese and Malay with additional influence from Dutch, Hokkien, Tamil, Malayalam, Armenian, and a whole bunch of other languages. Its genesis, it got started in the city of Malacca in 1511 after the Portuguese came to our part of the world and conquered the city and intermarried with local Malay residents. Today, the Kristang community, meaning people who identify as Kristang, is about 37,000 worldwide, but only about 2,000 of us speak the language. I'm one of the youngest remaining native speakers. I'm also the only teacher of the language in Singapore and one of three worldwide. The other two are in Malacca. So situation is exciting, but since 2016 under my leadership, we've been undergoing revitalization. First starting with the language, and now since 2022, culture and identity and philosophy as well.
Can you elaborate a little more on your work with the language and that linguistic and cultural reclamation?
Mm-hmm. So Kristang used to be seen as not very prestigious, to put it lightly. People saw darker skinned Eurasians. So in our part of the world, there are two main kinds of Eurasians: darker skinned Eurasians and lighter skinned Eurasians. Darker skinned Eurasians were tended to be not European passing, so we were treated as illegitimate, stupid, irrational, primitive, hypersexual, blah 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 blah. And the language was also seen as broken, deficient, incomplete, always in comparison to Portuguese. So by the time I became Cabeza by accident and not realizing that I had become Cabeza in 2015, the language was in a very critical situation, and most people in my generation, so I'm millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, we didn't even understand what Eurasian and Kristang meant. So I started teaching the language after not speaking it for a very long time because I didn't even know I had the language because I learned it when I was a baby. I was doing fieldwork for my own undergraduate honors project, and one of the people I was working with, who was a retired school teacher, said, you should teach Kristang because you are an MOE, Ministry of Education teacher. So I was like, oh, okay. So I started offering free classes in 2016.
And do you have a specific philosophy or framework that you carry with you in your teaching?
Yeah. So as the 13th Cabeza, my role is to create / to reconstruct / to bracket RE close bracket create Kristang philosophy. So a lot of the ways we think about the world are actually very spicy that a lot of people don't think about. They don't realize that it is okay to actually live in uncertainty or to live in the liminal, the borderline. We're also indigenous because we're descended from Malay folks. So Creole indigenous is a very unusual paradigm that most people don't recognize. Even when I submit academic work, I still get journals telling me. I literally had somebody tell me 2 weeks ago in a review of one of my articles, Creole cultures have nothing complex about them. And I was like, you could have said this 10 years ago. You cannot say this now. This is not okay. Yeah. So a lot of my work is to actually reconstruct the philosophy and the ways we think. And by reconstruct, I mean they were there. They were always there. They were just never articulated and never expressed.
What are you most proud of in terms of your work with Kristang?
Mm, where do I start? I'm Singapore's first openly gay, non-binary, actively polyamorous, atheist, neurodivergent, ethnic community leader. No person like me has ever existed in the history of the country. I'm also open about the fact that I'm a sexual abuse victim. And I do this without wanting retaliation or revenge because I don't have the energy or the money and I don't care. So being able to say that and being able to say that with dignity and with the knowing that a large part of my own community respects me for doing this is something I'm proudest of, because in Singapore we are fixated on image and face. We think that we have to pretend all the time and we have to hide, and I just can't live like that because my cognitive architecture does not allow me to live like that. But I didn't want anybody else to live like that either. And so much of what makes being Kristang so beautiful has been hidden and suppressed and told that it was not human or not valuable. So I'm very proud to have grown into myself and to be representing the Kristang on the planetary stage while also still living a very normal and human life where I can wear a singlet and slippers to things. Uh, I think this is an important hybridity that people need to be able to live with as well. Sometimes the most important things is not grand, fancy dictionaries. Those are important too, and they're necessary. But equally as important is the day-to-day lived reality of just being part of the culture and of just being yourself and learning that some of the things that we think are very new are actually very old, and that the cultures that are still around actually keep those things and remember those things. I think the crazy thing about the Pride is that most of the support I have started with older people in the Kristang community, not necessarily Gen Z, who need like TikTok things and all that before they're convinced or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, it's been the older people who have stood by me through COVID and through the sexual abuse and through a person who tried to destroy my reputation. It was the older folks in the community who understood me and who understood what I had gone through. And I will always be super grateful for that. And all this language revitalization discourse about respecting the elders is true. You should, because they get it. And that kind of stuff, I think, is something the world is losing sight of. But I think more than ever, that's why indigenous paradigms, Creole paradigms are so important.
In your work, do you look to any other groups or individuals for like inspiration?
So I was very inspired by a lot of the work in Hawaii and in Aotearoa. Um, Also in some of the European revivals, so Corsican, uh, and I think, oh, and definitely in Canada and Australia as well. The the thing I think with language revival is I tend not to be. I mean, I do find particular individuals inspiring, but actually, it's also the larger scale things that inspire me. My brain works like that. So seeing the collective effort that results in uh, Aotearoa being called Aotearoa in 2025, that kind of thing, that's really, really inspiring to me. The work of individuals is important to me, but I tend to be motivated more by these huge changes that happen because a bunch of people just won't sit quietly anymore. Yeah, that kind of stuff is really, really powerful for me. Yeah.
What would you like to see for the Kristang language and community in looking towards the future?
I always get asked this question. I don't know what to say sometimes. I hope the language doesn't die. I'm gay, so I'm not having kids. So it's sorry. Yeah, all the usual language revival models aren't working with Kristang and me. Um, I think you are interviewing me at a very interesting threshold where I am now institutionally recognized as the Kabesa. Uh, my hope is that that does not change what it means to be Kristang. Um, I I do command a certain relational authority, but beyond that, I don't want the community to change how egalitarian it has always been. I don't want people to stop knowing that everyone has the right to decide how they manifest and how they embody what it means to be Kristang. Um, and I hope that because of that, more people become visible about how they're doing how they are embodying and being Kristang, because so much of our own history has been occluded. Many people in the community still feel very ashamed to talk about their history, to talk about what it means to be Kristang on their terms. And I don't want that to continue to happen, because a lot of other people beyond the community are looking to us now as embodying what it means to be Creole and Indigenous in the 21st century in ways that are healthy and that respect who we are. So my hope is that more people not really stand beside me, but stand on their own terms and are proud of what it means to be Kristang on their terms. Because of all the chiefs so far, I am the one who definitely represents diversity and all that stuff, and I want people to believe in that as well. There's a place for religious approaches to Kristang, there's a place for heterosexual approaches to Kristang, there's a place for many approaches to Kristang, a Malaccan approach, a KL approach. Other people need to see that, and other people need to see that the Kabesa is one voice, but there are many voices supporting him and doing their own thing beyond him as well. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for groups or individuals who are engaged in language reclamation work, or even other linguists?
Oh, make sure your backbone is very strong. uh, I think for anything to do with culture, and I learned this through 10 years of this already, it's the relationships that matter. The reason why we have survived is not just because we kept to ourselves, and there are reasons why people would choose to do that, and those are valid, but for us in our context, we have thrived because we have remained open to people. We learn from people, we creolize things from other cultures, and we honor the lessons that those things give to us in Kristang. That relationality, that very simple thing of like showing that even though we may be from different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions, whatever, there's still something fundamental that we can relate to across those cultures, is what creates the synergy that allows for small communities and communities that are on the threat of being marginalized or suppressed to continue. We didn't build Kristang out of a Kristang coalition. We built Kristang out of a Malayan coalition that has been working together, and not in like some like overthrow the government kind of way, in a sort of like, this is fun, I like hanging out here, I like coming to class, I like learning what new weird shit Kevin has dreamfished. Those kinds of energies is what has kept things going. Again, it doesn't have to be grand, but it does have to be authentic, it does have to be real, and it does have to respect what it means to be that culture. A lot of things I think people don't realize in language work is academic stuff matters. Having a dictionary, having an archive, having a grammar, those matter. Equally as important is how you treat the people and how you show that their voices matter. That if you're an academic outside of the community who's working with the community, just showing up and just letting people talk and just letting people like, oh my god, this is how I think, and fuck the government and all that. Yes, sometimes people just need that. Sometimes people just need to know that their perspective, that their worldview is respected and it's heard by somebody. Because for Kristang, we didn't even feel like we could use the term Kristang to describe ourselves or our language, and we always felt we had to compare it to Portuguese. And many indigenous communities that I've interacted with, and people from these communities, feel that way, that they don't get to talk and they don't get to show who they are. So the solid academic work matters, but so does the emotional and the relational, and making people feel that they have something to contribute, they're not dumb, they're not stupid. It's just that the way they think is so different from anyone else, and that's what makes it valuable and powerful for other people. Yeah.